Na 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 moonlight, na 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 in the sky, na 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 you say, na 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 popcorn, na 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 moonlight, na 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 in the sky, na 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 you say, na 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 popcorn.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Get Your Popcorn podcast. And joining me today is Aundre. How are you doing, Aundre?
I'm doing well. What about you, C-Money?
I'm doing great. So everybody, today we are reviewing Happy Gilmore, the legendary Adam Sandler movie from the 1990s. Love this movie. All right, Aundre, have you seen this film before?
Yeah, so I'd seen it a few times, but I just rewatched it just yesterday, actually. And so I'm all caught up, prepared for the review. And it's a funny movie. Honestly, if you haven't seen it, I highly recommend it.
Yeah, I've seen this movie. I can't remember how many times. I didn't even rewatch it, to be honest, because it's so quotable. I still remember all the characters. It's just so good. All right, everybody. So if you haven't seen Happy Gilmore, it's a movie from back in 1996. And this was a time where Adam Sandler was coming on everything. He was in Saturday Night Live, and then he was fired from Saturday Night Live and started doing his own films. But this one and Billy Madison were like the big start of his career. So in Happy Gilmore, he's trying out for a hockey team. He loves hockey, but he can never make the team because they always say he sucks and he just can't make it. And he's also very aggressive. First practice that he had, he didn't make the team, and the coach told him, "Well, better luck next year." And he started fighting with the coach, and yeah, it just ruined his chances. So he's picked up by Chubbs, who is a legendary golfer, who is played by Carl Weathers. If you don't know who Carl Weathers is, he came out in Predator with Arnold Schwarzenegger in the 80s. So he sees Happy as a very good golfer because he has a great drive. He just hits the ball very damn well and accurately, and he hits it far. So Chubbs picks him up to learn golf. But then, unfortunately, something happens with his grandma, and she loses everything. She's in debt. The bank takes her house. They take everything. So he has to move his grandma into a nursing home. And the only way that he could afford it is to play golf. All right, so that's pretty much the gist of it. This movie is hilarious. If you haven't seen it, I highly recommend it. I know Adam Sandler doesn't have the best reputation right now, but this movie is great. All right, Aundre, so in this film, what is your favorite part?
So my favorite part is the Bob Barker, where it's like they're doing like a celebrity and pro golfer sort of matchup, right? You see that every now and again, that you have these tournaments or at least, a few set of games where you have a celebrity paired up with a pro golfer. And him and Bob Barker. Well, so I guess to start, there's a guy that's a heckler in the crowd, right? That's getting to Adam Sandler's character, Happy.
Yeah.
And, it just keeps calling him a jackass, right? And of course, it's going to piss you off if you're trying to play a game of golf. And so, Happy ends up sucking, and Bob Barker had won the tournament the previous year. And so Bob starts talking so much crap to Happy about how he sucks at golf and all this stuff. They end up getting a fight. And then Bob Barker ends up kicking his ass. So I just thought that was the most hilarious thing of Bob Barker, like, literally throwing down, throwing punches, grappling a little bit. It was so funny. What about you?
Oh, man, you took mine. My favorite line in the whole movie is, "The price is wrong, bitch."
Yeah. So funny.
I think other than that, my favorite part is when Happy and Chubbs just had a very successful practice at the mini golf course. Chubbs really challenged him, and he prevailed. So Happy invites him up to his apartment and tells Chubbs, "Well, I have a surprise for you." And he has a ottoman, and he tells him, "Remember the gator that took your hand? Well, I took his head." So Chubbs opens the ottoman, and the gator's head is right there, and Chubb has PTSD, and he starts freaking out, and he backs up and falls through the window. And then you just hear Chubbs' wooden hand just fall with him.
Yeah.
And then right there is Lee Trevino looking up at Happy, just nodding his head.
Yeah, that part was so hilarious when you see it. The whole alligator scene in general is just hilarious. From like the time that he finds the alligator that stole Chubb's hand to where he brings it up to Chubbs and shows him the head. It's so funny.
And then those of you who don't know who Lee Trevino is, he was a professional golfer. He's actually from my hometown of El Paso, Texas. We even have one of the big streets named after him. Yeah, but Lee Trevino pops up every time in this movie, just the same stupid look, and he's just nodding his head. Oh man, this movie is so good. I don't know if you know this, but to this day, the actor who plays Shooter McGavin, Christopher McDonald, he is still called Shooter McGavin to this day.
I mean, it's a good nickname, and it's funny, you know, they add in like the hand motions every time like he hits a good putt or something, right? So
yeah, like I remember a long time ago, they were talking about the actor Christopher McDonald, and they didn't even call him by his name. It was on Yahoo. They didn't even call him by his name. They just called him Shooter McGavin. It's like you can never live that down, man.
I know. And that's the funny thing with actors, right? Is they always want to not get typecasted. So that's why, you know, all the actors from Harry Potter wanted to go on to do something else so that, you know, they could get some more recognition. Or Tobey Maguire, right, with Spider-Man, didn't want to be Spider-Man his whole life. But that's funny. I didn't know that about Shooter McGavin. So now everybody just calls him Shooter instead of his real name.
Yeah, what's funny is that every time I rewatch this movie, I notice an actor that I never noticed before. So Will Sasso was one of the delivery guys. I don't know if you know who he is. He was
No, I don't.
TV. Oh, Will Sasso is hilarious in Mad TV. And then we have Julie Bowen, who is Claire. She plays Claire in Modern Family. Oh man, beautiful woman, absolutely striking. But there's just a lot of actors in this movie. It's so good. All right, Aundre, what else did you like about this film? Like, did you like the themes, the comedy? What else did you think?
Yeah, so the comedy, it very much felt like an old school Adam Sandler movie, right? So if you enjoy that type of comedy, I think you would enjoy this. If you don't enjoy that and you don't like the old school Adam Sandler movies, you probably won't enjoy it. What I actually really liked is that they touched upon how there can be one revolutionary athlete that could bring in a lot of revenue for you, right? And so with Happy, he was a little bit different. He wasn't your typical golfer where, you know, it's the soft claps every time they do something well. And, you know, like if he's upset, he's just like, oh, dang it. Instead, you know, he's cussing people out, getting in fights, throwing his clubs. And it made golf more interesting in the movie. So a lot of people are like, hey, I want to watch, you know, you've got people from all walks of life. Like they were saying, economic diversity, right? An economically diverse crowd, I think, is one of the lines they use in the movie to talk about. You've got like these poor, broke rednecks come in with their beer and like their beer hats, drinking a beer to watch some golf. And then you've got, of course, rich people coming to watch everybody else. And I think that's very realistic in real life, too. I think a lot of times, if you can nab a really popular sports figure, even if they're maybe not the best player, right? And I think about Lonzo Ball when it comes to the Lakers. I think the Lakers almost had to take Lonzo back when he was, you know, going into his rookie year, just because the dad was crazy. They had the big baller brand. It was a local LA kid. So even if Lonzo sucked, you were going to sell a whole lot of merchandise for, you know, like big baller brand and all that stuff, or just putting Lonzo on your poster, even if he's not the best on your team. And then, of course, the Lakers eventually moved on and said, hey, we got to get Anthony Davis. But I just think that that's a very realistic approach to life, in that, like, sometimes it's not just about the wins, it's about the revenue you can generate when it comes to sports. And I thought that was interesting. What about you?
Dude, not gonna lie, if I saw a golfer beating the shit out of other golfers on live TV, especially at the PGA Tour, I would so tune into that.
Hell yeah. I think golf is boring. Everybody always asks me, right? Like, I went through an MBA program. I work with a lot of really, wealthy people or whatever. And golf is generally what they always do when you think about like, oh yeah, what do rich people do? They play golf. And me, I'm like, no, I hate golf. It's the most boring thing. But you're right, C-Money. If I saw somebody like thrown down on a golf course, I'd tune in every single weekend to watch that.
Oh, hell yeah, dude. I want to say the comedy is great. We're in 2020 now, and they don't really like comedy is good, but it's not as good as back in the 90s.
Mm-hmm.
Back in the 90s, they could pretty much say and do whatever they want, and it'd be hilarious. But this movie is so funny just because of how Happy like freaks out on people. It's just so good. Like, like his first time driving, he misses the ball and he starts cussing out the ball. and all the other golfers are like, whoa, what the hell?
Yeah.
And then I love the scene where he's playing the golfer named Potter, and it's Kevin Nealon.
Mm-hmm.
And Happy picks a homeless man as his caddy. So he puts the quarter down to mark where his ball is at. And the caddy just sees the quarter and he just picks it up.
Yeah.
And then it goes to the next part. He puts a cracker down, and the homeless man just picks up the cracker,
starts eating it. Yeah.
There's just so many good like subtle comedy pieces that just make you bust out laughing in this whole movie.
Mm-hmm.
It's just so good. And then the part with his happy place that his grandma is there winning all these coins, and then you see the agent in lingerie, Virginia. You just see her in lingerie, and then you see you see the midget there. There's just a lot of funny parts, but when he's losing to Shooter, it like his happy place just goes to crap, and
yeah,
it's like all pure rock music, and he's just going nuts. But there's a lot to like about this film. Like there's a reason why it's a classic.
Mm-hmm.
It's just classic Adam Sandler. Not like what he was now, except for Uncut Gems, which is that's a very good movie. But
yeah, but that's even a different sort of film for Adam Sandler. It's not one of his like comedy films. Uncut Gems is more of a drama and more of an intense type movie.
Yeah, it really is more of an intense type movie. But like 90s comedy was just so good. Like it was like in your face, but they had the subtle jokes that just make you bust out laughing, and it's a good time. All right, so let's get to the final. What would you rate this film?
Yeah, so for me, I really enjoyed it. It is a classic. I still think, now that I rewatch it, I'm like, it does feel a lot like a lot of the other Adam Sandler movies that I've watched in the past. Like I said, there are some things that I do appreciate about the aspect of sports where they, it's like, hey, one really good talent, right? That's fun to watch, can bring in a lot of revenue. And I appreciate those things. But of course, like I said, it just feels like every other Adam Sandler movie where it's like, they do some funny stuff. He has a love interest. Everything works out in the end. Him and his love interest end up getting together, right? He gets grandma's house back, all that stuff. So with that being said, for me, unfortunately, I'm only going to give it a 3. So I'm going to say it's a good, base hit, a single or a double. But I don't think it has that warning track power, and I don't think it's a home run. What about you?
I'm going to have to give it a home run. It's just so watchable to me. To this day, I still see there's so many parts of this movie that just come to my mind, that just come to my head. I still love to this day the part where grandma is at the nursing home, and Ben Stiller just shows up out of nowhere, and the old lady tells him, "My fingers hurt," and he's like, "What?" And she says, "My fingers hurt," and then he whispers in her ear, "Oh, well, that's unfortunate. Now your back is gonna hurt because you just pulled landscaping duty." And the lady just and the grandma's like, "What the hell? Like, where the fuck am I?"
Yeah. I know. Yeah, even Ben Stiller in that movie, right? Like, he has such a small role. He's only there in the nursing home, and he's only in like 2 scenes or something. but he's
Yeah.
so funny. He's hilarious.
It's so good. So I'm going to give it a home run. It's just so good and so watchable. All right, everybody. So that's our review of Happy Gilmore. Hope you enjoyed it. If you haven't seen it, I highly recommend it. Our next review coming up is going to be The Waterboy. All right, everybody. So stay tuned for The Waterboy. And I hope you all have a good one. And please stay safe.